Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Aditi Mishra. I currently work in product at LinkedIn, and I was previously the co-founder of AvailLink, and I'll be your moderator for today's discussion on circular economy. So what is circular economy? Circular economy, in its core, is a model of production and consumption which revolves around 6 things: sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, and recycling existing materials and products as long as possible. So in this way, the life cycle of products is extended, and this is essentially a departure from the traditional linear economic model, which is based on take, make, consume, throw away pattern. Circular economy in its core promotes the use of as many biodegradable materials as possible in the manufacture of products so that they can go back to nature without causing any environmental damage. And in cases where it's not possible, like electronics, hardware, batteries, the aim is to facilitate a simple uncoupling to give them new life by reintroducing them into the production cycle and to essentially compose a new piece. And when that is not possible, these are then recycled in a respectful manner for the environment. So why are we having this conversation today? So as in where we stand, we confront mounting environmental challenges and resource scarcity. Rethinking our approach to production and consumption is no longer just a choice, but a necessity. So today I have the pleasure of highlighting the work of 3 of our amazing panelists, Ajit, Kumar, Pallai, Komal, Parakh, who you should hopefully be able to see on the screen shortly, and Rowaiye, Olanweraju, who are working on different approaches to the circular economy. So while Ajit works in the use of as many biodegradable materials as possible, such as bamboo in the production of Saathi's products, so that they can go back to nature without causing environmental damage, Komal, through her project Upcycle Corps, has worked tirelessly towards giving new lease to pre-consumed textile waste and to repurpose them into sustainable clothing. Her project helps in reintroducing waste, quote-unquote waste, into the production cycle and composing new pieces out of it. Rowaiye's foundation targets a third and yet another very important approach to circular economy. Through the Larry Rowbs Foundation, he's working based out of Canada on a mission to reduce environmental pollution in the textile and fast fashion industry and to set a new standard for the African fashion industry. So that was a very brief intro, but I would love to hear it from the panelists, and I would love to hear for them to essentially introduce their projects. I will start with you, Ajit. Tell us a little bit about your project.
Aditi, thank you so much. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all across the world. So I'm Ajit Kumar Pallai, and basically I'm from Bhubaneswar, India. So what at Saathi, what we do, I'll express about things. So that was the video. Actually, what we do at Saathi, actually, we are basically kind of product-based venture, sustainable product-based venture. So we are totally dealing with the various kinds of eco-friendly products, like mainly related to bamboo. So that we are totally, we have initiated this aspect so as to reduce the plastic pollution. and we are totally committed towards that. And through this initiative, we are also like engaging the local artisans to make their lifestyle better as well. And different things are going on as far as the climate change and the circular economy is concerned. But obviously, we are totally committed so as to bring a kind of sustainable future across the globe for our lovable consumers. So that's all from about our project.
That was incredible. Thank you so much for sharing, Ajit, and that's a wonderful video as well. I'm going to popcorn this over to Rowaiye. We'd love to hear a little bit more about your project.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. And I don't know if I can share, but let me try to see if I can share. Yeah,
Can't see anything yet.
This includes our fashion. As soon as the trend catches on, the race begins to get the next one to catch on. The competition to the top is a never-ending battle. But what happens to all of this clothing after it isn't wanted anymore? More often than not, it's sent to an incinerator for disposal. What doesn't get burned gets thrown out and ends up in water systems and landfills. For the past 60 years, these have been building up all over the world, especially Africa. There's still hope, though. Enter the Larry Rowbs Foundation. Our plan for Africa will take these unwanted articles of clothing and give them new life by taking them down to their individual fibers and recreating them as fresh, recycled materials. We'll also be establishing an education around sustainable fashion to help fashionistas start their own circular brands. There's a few other organizations doing similar fun stuff. So let's make fashion more sustainable together.
Thank you. Yeah, good. So basically, Africa has been used as a dumping ground for most of this fast fashion, all in the name of charity. And I'm not saying charity is a bad thing, but we need to actually reduce how all this is actually happening. So owning a brand for several years, I decided to start a foundation where we can actually collect all those used products and start upcycling and recycling them into something new, and also introducing some other sustainable or product that we can use. Basically, with a full-scale recycling facility that we're actually proposing to build in Uganda, we can actually start collecting this and produce it into something, into a new product. Now, the profit from that, we intend to start a recycling school and a sustainable fashion school. Oh, can you hear me? So after all this, our intention is to empower more students so people can come in to learn more about fashion and also about sustainable fashion. And I believe this is the only best way we can actually make fashion more sustainable around the world, because Africa is one of the grassroots where all these things end up into. We have Chile, we have India also, but Africa as a continent is something we actually need to look into, and that's what our foundation is actually working into. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm so glad to be able to finally join in. I'm extremely sorry. It was supposed to have started, like, I should have been there 10 minutes ago, but I'm sure you had some interesting insights from Rowaiye and Ajit, and I would just like to add that I'm the founder of Upcycle Corps, as Aditi has brilliantly already mentioned. She's doing a wonderful job being the moderator. And Upcycle Corps is something which started off as a project to repurpose textile waste into sustainable clothing, and now is a full-fledged e-commerce marketplace for all things sustainable. So we're basically tackling we're basically targeting different approaches to the circular economic model of fashion. Like we were first into upcycling, so there was that approach, and now we are we have a more holistic approach to the circular economy, because we're enabling people to buy sustainable items from our marketplace platform, and also enabling them to like contribute to carbon offsets and things like that by shopping and purchasing on our platform, so thereby contributing to end-to-end circular economic approach. So I'm sorry, but did I miss out? Like, what question are we on, or
We're just getting
You're still
started.
naughty, okay.
Just introduction of your project.
Sure.
We are glad that you are actually.
I know, me too. I actually wanted to also show a video, but I'm not sure I'm able to share the screen because there's a lot of tech issues happening anyway. But let me try to do it. Please do check out our video on Upcycle Corps. It's on the Upcycle Corps channel. It will take you through the journey of how between 2012 and 2017 we have upcycled over 50,000 meters of waste cloth, which would have been otherwise discarded or thrown into landfills. So we've basically upcycled pre-consumer textile waste from different tailoring shops and garment manufacturing units in Mumbai, almost hundreds of them, and we repurpose this into 10,000 plus clothing concepts, which were then commercially sold across exhibitions in India in different cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, and happy to go with the conversation. And Aditi, please go ahead with the rest of the discussion. Yeah.
Firstly, thank you so much, Komal, for joining in. I know, with tech issues, sometimes you never know what's going to happen, but we are glad you're here, and thank you so much for sharing about Upcycle. And we will make sure that we all go watch that video. Okay, so I would love to double click on what you all just mentioned. I would love to understand how exactly is your project or initiative contributing to circular economy and sustainability. So yeah, I'm going to popcorn this to you, Ajit. I would love to hear a little bit more about how does Saathi contribute to circular economy and to sustainability?
Yeah, sure, thanks. So as I have already actually showcased a video what we do at Saathi. So basically it's an initiative, as I already told you, it's an initiative on sustainable products, but at the same point of time we are dealing with various bamboo products, right? These are raw materials totally are renewable material, right? All these are renewable material. What happens actually, if we take the difference between the linear economy, circular economy, as you told about, it's a kind of tech, like, and it consumer waste, right? Dispose it, right? What happens to our products is totally there are various aspects of circularity, right? So we are dealing with like a natural circularity. It's totally dealing with the raw materials which are renewable in nature, and all the things are sustainably managed from different forests. So bamboo is grass, obviously, and it is totally renewable. It is totally getting decomposed. So it evolves in a kind of loop. It evolves in a kind of like circular way. So whatever the raw material, it actually, if we actually take it and consume, make it, manufacture it and consume it, or utilize it in a proper way in a daily basis, and throw it, it will be decomposed. So there will be no need of any kind of like recycle it and reuse it and then upcycle it, something like that. All these things are totally actually what I think renewable in nature and getting decomposed in the soil. So at Saathi, we are totally dealing with all those things which are in biodegradable in nature, which are 100% biodegradable, and it comes with a circular way. It actually what ends up in a loop, so that we are considering as a kind of circular economy as far as Saathi is concerned.
Awesome. Thank you, Ajit.
Thank you so much.
I will ask this question to Komal. I would love to hear a little bit about how Upcycle is contributing to sustainability and to circular economy. I know we got a high level, but I'd love to double click on it still.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Aditi. So that's a very pertinent question. And like I mentioned, my venture Upcycle Corps was in the business, or it was involved in the upcycling of underutilized pre-consumer textile waste into sustainable clothing. So basically the term upcycle refers to the process of discarding waste into something of a higher value. So that has been our go-to like approach to the circular economic model. But to answer your question more specifically, I just like to throw some stats around the fashion industry. That fashion industry is currently one of the biggest industries in the world, representing like 2.5 trillion US dollars in value, but also the second most polluting industry in the world, right behind oil, producing about almost 10% of the global carbon emissions. So, and this industry is actually attributed to a whole lot of, in the wastewater, water pollution, soil pollution, air pollution, and also it comes with a significant human cost. So so our effort in this direction, of course, on a very small level, has been to not just avert waste but also create economic opportunities for socially underrepresented or disenfranchised artisans, which we have in a phenomenal way. Like through our efforts, I think we've created economic opportunities for like 150 artisans and given them fair wage opportunities, earning opportunities. So in this manner, Upcycle Corps has, imbibed a lot of circular economy model principles by not just utilizing what would have otherwise gone as waste. Imagine 50,000 meters of fabric being just thrown off into landfills and nothing being done about it. Besides, all these fabrics contain a vast amount of microplastics and all of that. So therefore, I'm really proud of like how we've managed to avert not just the waste but also create economic opportunities for artisans. So that's how we've approached this.
Thanks, Komal, for sharing. And what incredible work you're doing. Very proud of you and proud of the work that Upcycle Corps is doing. I would love to popcorn this question over to you, Rowaiye. Tell us a little bit more about how your foundation is contributing to circular economy and sustainability.
Okay, thank you. First thing, the shortest definition I use for circular economy is a system where materials never become waste and nature is regenerated. That is one key point we should always understand. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah, cool. So now, most of the products getting to Africa, I'm going to talk more about the fashion industry. We noticed that the first thing we need to do is to cut the polyester, the low quality products that are being used in the textile industry. We need the first thing the foundation is trying to work on is to reduce that, because without that, there's nothing like decomposition or getting into the biodegradable materials. So it's very important to first let people know that this polyester is not something we want to keep using. So secondly, we try to make people understand the difference between different materials and also let them know that you buying more is not the best solution to the earth and to the materials we have worldwide, or to the nature also, sorry. So that's one thing our foundation is always working towards. And if I don't know if you know more about the African economy. The textile industry is actually used to be one of the biggest industry in those days, apart from agriculture. But simply because of the fast fashion, it has actually crumbled. So what the foundation is trying to work towards now is how to make sustainable, not just make fashion not just sustainable, but also to build the textile industry and to support more of slow fashion. And this is a very crucial thing that we need to all support worldwide. That's what I can say for now. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing. I know we've talked about what all of your projects are trying to solve for. We've also like double clicked on quite a few things, but I'd love to hear from the three of you, essentially subject matter experts, about why is circular economy important? And the question behind the question is, what do you think are the steps that should be taken to promote effective climate action? I'm going to popcorn this back to you, Ajit. I would love to hear from you.
So yeah, thanks. So let me actually tell you one thing that is the stats actually which I was going to tell regarding the circularity. Actually, what we do at EcoSaathi is like we are dealing with various bamboo products, like the alternative of plastic products, because plastic products like plastic toothbrushes. Since its invention, it is still existing in the earth, right? It actually takes more than hundreds of years to get decomposed. So if I talk about the weight of a plastic tooth, it weighs around 20 gram. So it actually makes a kind of 600 million kg of waste in a year, which is really dangerous, right? And microplastics are also found. It has been researched that microplastics are found in the lungs of human being, human blood, and human breast milk, which is an alarming situation for our humanity, right? And through bamboo, what we have done actually, bamboo toothbrushes, we have what done in such a way that we have already saved around 800 kg of plastic waste till now. So that is the thing we have actually managed in now. Obviously, we are trying our best so as to make it kind of 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, so that we can actually save the plastic waste from the earth. Talking to your questions, actually, question that what are the steps actually to actually initiate so that we can make a kind of better or promote the circular economy. So we can actually take different kinds of steps, but there are certain things which are like the different aspects. Let's say suppose natural circularity or any kind of circular economy from e-waste or recycling, upcycling, all those things. So my point of view will be like let's what confine towards something which will be like it can be biodegradable along with recycled. It can be, so it will be much better for our economy, so that we can generate the revenue for our GDP for all the countries. It will be definitely good. And the way actually youth of our country or any country, they need to also showcase that how we can actually manage these kind of things and can engage towards the circular economy or any kind of awareness program, so that we can make the youth of our globe. That will be really good for all of us, that we can easily promote that circular economy.
Thank you, Ajit, for sharing. I would love to hear from you, Komal, as well. What are your thoughts? Why is circular economy important, and what do you believe are the steps that we should be taking?
No, absolutely. So, actually, before this session started, or even before I was going to be a part of this discussion, that is a question that has long pondered me, because, 10 years ago, if someone asked a question like this, that why circular economy important? Sure, people would be like, it's important to preserve our planet Earth, and it's the only planet that we have. But honestly, going by, the statistics that we have now with respect to even climate change, it has almost become an imperative. Like circular economy, and this may come across as quite a strong statement, but there are several governments across the world that are making it a mandate almost for companies, mid-level companies, and early stage companies also, to bring these policies, circular economic policies, into action and implement them at different stages of production, whether creating those kind of products or creating products which can be recycled or upcycled. But I feel the stats are all out there, and doubling up on what Ajit said, like 500,000 of microfibers are released into seawater like every single year, and this is what is entering our food system, our bodies. This is something that's entering the bodies of the organisms around us, and it's a very perilous situation that we're in. So I believe circular economy is the need of the hour, and at the individual level, people can make simple switches, like, using a bamboo toothbrush instead of a plastic toothbrush. And that's something I've been practicing, since the last 2 years, very, very religiously. That's something that everyone can, do, or just making. And I think we can all learn to actually embrace. There's so many sustainable consumer, sustainable shopping websites that are selling eco-friendly products, and products which are, natural and good for the planet, good for people. So it's really important that as individuals we make those choices, and at the policy level, the governments definitely need to incentivize businesses to take these approaches, at least in India. And yes, industries, they know what they need to do as well. So
thanks, Komal.
Yeah.
If I had to summarize that, I would say rethinking our approach to production and consumption is not a choice, it is a necessity. So really, really liked your insights there. I'm going to send this question over to Rowaiye. Yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about why do you believe circular economy is important, and what can we do to promote it?
Okay. But is there something effective climate or promotes effective climate action in it also?
Yeah, sure.
Or just okay, yeah, because that was the question I had in mind. Yeah, just like you said, circular economy is not something we should even be thinking twice to put into what we are doing right now, because it's very, very important. You see, we can't keep using the linear or system where we just we produce, use, and dispose. What about the next generation that are coming? What are they going to meet? Everything is actually going, in a very bad situation. Now, I'm going to use I like to use the fashion industry as an example. You see, the moment people, just like what Kamal said, like thousands of liters of water are used to produce a cloth or cotton, and you, at the end of the day, you just wear and dispose it because you want to show off, or because you feel it's not important. For how long are we going to keep doing that? I tell people something. Why would you let the clothes that you suffered for get into the landfill? And trust me, the materials we have in the world right now, if we keep recycling, trust me, you don't even need to produce anything for now. You don't need to produce new materials. But what's going on? People don't really care. So the first thing I always say is we need to start thinking of how we can actually maintain the one we have right now. That is the point you just made mention. And I want to say something again about how the steps we can use to fight the climate economy. Let me come again. Let me see again. To promote effective climate action, right? If I'm right, the first thing in Africa, here where I am right now, is deforestation. There should be rules and regulation guiding those parts. You see, in my street right now, when I got to the streets, it was a beautiful place. But right now, it's like a desert already, because they've cut almost all the trees. But we see this thing happening. Is there any rules and regulations stopping these people? And the most funniest thing is they don't plant any tree back. Why are we doing that? What are the generation going to meet? The next generation come. What are they going to meet? These are the things we need to look into also. And secondly, what we preach, like I said, what we preach in the organization is, or what we tell people is that be minimal in anything you're buying. Why are you buying 20 cars? When you reduce what you're buying, the producer will not produce much. Imagine you're buying 20 cars, or you're buying a lot of clothes. What for what? Those are the things we also have to look into. And same as this in transportation. You feel someone wants to go for a walk, but not just want to go buy something of just 5 minutes. You go with your car for what? That's a lot of carbon emission going on. You don't need all of that. We need to rethink our transportation also. So there are a lot of things. But the most important thing I'm going to say is that we need governments, we need real policies to be imposed on people, not just the ones that's actually happening. Trust me, things are not happening yet. We need them to be on the grassroots, like this fund, like what Komal, Ajit, and people like me are doing. The people at the grassroots to be able to say, yes, this is what we are doing. This is what we're doing. Like the foundation, we want to make sure that we can answer that. Hey, this product is coming out from this factory. What happened? What's the material? How did it come out? Those are the things they need to make sure it's happening. Without that, they're going nowhere. Thank you so much.
Aditi, can I add one?
Yes,
point?
go for it, Ajit.
Thank you. So both have actually expressed very well. So one point actually what I was trying to say is like government, what Komal is and Rowaiye has already expressed, government should actually take an initiative towards this. It's very important. It's imperative as well for all of us actually to understand the circular economy point of view. And one more thing that is very much important, that is government should also enforce the manufacturers of the plastic or any kind of industries who are already manufacturing those kind of aspects which are kind of linear economy, right? So government should actually take all those steps so as to enforce along with the policies, frameworks and the trend set, whoever maybe it will be very much easier for them to frame those policies, to actually make those policies so that we can be easily going in a situation that circular economy definitely will be falling into picture, because obviously this is the need of this is the future, and the future is like not circular economy, but obviously it will be like circular economy along with some kind of like the natural kind of aspects, right? So that is the future, I think, and that is the thing from my side.
Awesome. Thanks, Ajit. Thanks, Rowaiye, as well. So now the floor is open to questions. We have some time reserved for Q&A. We've already started receiving some questions, but you have any, please feel free to raise your hand or type your question either to me or in the chat, followed by the name of the panelist you'd like to ask that question to. I think the first question that we have already, I think that one is for you, Komal. So Ravi asks that they've seen that sustainable fashion is often more expensive than normal fashion, so essentially linear economy based fashion. So what is the plan, being an entrepreneur, to bring sustainable fashion to rural areas and low economy zone?
That's a very wonderful question, and thank you, Ravi, for raising it, because I mean, economic realities are a thing, and it's not that just because something is good for the environment, people are gonna shell out like 10 times more money just to buy it. So the affordability of sustainable fashion and sustainable clothing is actually contingent upon a whole different a whole different number of factors. And I realized this as I was in that field for like so long, and I was, I've seen it from the scratch, like how so I was able to procure the sustainable scrap the waste, the textile waste or scraps, garment scraps, for very, very affordable or in a very cost effective way, because the units were very close to my house. So I was able to manage the logistics of it and thereby produce the clothing that I had also at a very cost effective manner, and thereby the clothes we sold were very affordable. They were almost like as cheap or as affordable as normal clothing. But I've realized that for a lot of other brands, one of the biggest problems they face was procuring this material at a cheap cost. And also there's a lack of government incentives for, say, procurement of such kind of materials, or especially people working to repurpose waste. Some of them are working towards building, making home decor products or different things, using post-consumer and pre-consumer textile waste. So there should be that in order to make this thing a reality and make this very affordable to people, definitely there needs there we have to work out, like on the policy level also, how such materials can be procured at low cost. So once the procurement becomes cost effective, then definitely the cost of production goes down, and the products become more effective to sell, cost effective to sell. So that is one aspect. And secondly, sustainable fashion was expensive. It's almost not as expensive as it was 5 or 10 years ago, because there's definitely rise in awareness, and people are noticing it's not like a luxury anymore as people perceive it. So sustainable fashion is becoming more and more popular, and more people are sort of buying from brands. It is yet more expensive than fast fashion, which it always will be, because it's fast fashion for a reason. So unless people stop buying fast fashion and sort of adhere to consuming slow fashion, it's never gonna, like, the demand and supply are never really gonna catch up. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Komal. One of the next questions I would like to ask is to you, Ajit. So being an entrepreneur is also involves a lot of challenges, especially considering that you're working at grassroots level. I would love to understand what are the challenges you faced while implementing circular economy initiatives, and how have you managed to overcome them?
Sure. So basically, what happens actually while actually initiating a kind of startup, there are so many challenges actually coming up over the time. But how we have managed it till now is like. The thing is, like, what we do, we are dealing with various bamboo products, right? The bamboo products where it is available, right? The resources have to be available in your locality, or else it will be very much difficult to actually transport it, right? Because it will take a lot of money for the logistics part. So this is the first challenge, that the local resources have to be there, so as to make it a proper way, so as to actually process it to the end product. So that is the first challenge. And the second challenge is first challenge, what happened for us, we actually saw that few species were there in our locality. Then we traveled a lot to different states of our India, right? And then we saw that in the northeast, actually in Tripura, Assam, and I'm from Odisha state of India. So what happens in northeast, Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, we have our local artisans over there. We identified the artisans, along with we identified the bamboos, which bamboos can be actually easily processed, so as to make the end product. So that was the first challenge for us, and we managed it through a different kind of approaches, by traveling to different instances, by speaking with different stakeholders and different government bodies as well. And the second thing was artisans. The artisans, this is very, very, very crucial, that you have to identify the proper artisan, so as to make it a kind of good product or attractive product for the consumer. So that is the second, that you have to also travel and look forward and actually listen the point of view from the artisan perspective, what they actually need, what is their challenge. So being an entrepreneur, we also hear from those aspects, and we actually take it as a kind of feedback, and making it to a feed forward, so as to do a kind of relationship building, a bonding between the artisan and the startup or the organization, along with the logistics part. Third thing is if you develop the product, right? If you have already manufactured the product, so what happens actually from a tier 2 city? I'm coming from a tier 2 city from Bhubaneswar, India. So it's very much difficult to transport these products to various pin codes of India, or different other countries as well. So what happens actually, the logistics part actually come into picture. Whereas the price from Bhubaneswar, if I talk about the Bhubaneswar price, if we send a product from Bhubaneswar to New Delhi, it is costing, suppose, X rupees. But if I talk about from New Delhi to Bhubaneswar, it will be half X. So what happens, that is the main purpose actually. Transportation plays a bigger role because the opportunities are not there, the ecosystem has not yet developed. So it has to be done from the government side, the cargo shipments or the ports, of what actually transportation is being considered. So if I talk about other states like Tamil Nadu or Gujarat or Gurgaon or New Delhi, then obviously there are so many things which are going on right now from different parts of India. But we have also overcome that, because how we have made a kind of agreement with different logistic partners, so that we want to go for a long-term perspective, so that our product can be easily delivered at the doorstep of our consumers very easily with an affordable way. The price has to be very minimal, that is, you can say optimal. So in this actually we have managed till now, but obviously there are so many challenges we are also facing right now, which we will be able to manage time to time.
Thanks for sharing, Ajit. One thing which you said really, I found that to be really insightful. So it's technology also plays a very, very important role in promoting sustainability. So actually, I'm going to ask this question to you, Rowaiye. So circular economy practices often intersect with technology and innovation, and I know you talked about it as well. So how do you see emerging technologies contributing to the evolution of sustainability and to circular business models?
How do I see the what's called, come again?
How do you see emerging technologies contributing to the evolution of sustainable and circular business models?
Wow, that's a very good question. Okay, with all machines at this stage, I don't see, just like what Komal said, that the price of sustainable, just I'm going to use in the fashion industry, right? Sorry, let me use that. Is might be a bit hard. So definitely, if we want things to go like, if you want, for example, you want to recycle, or you want things, you want to reduce or the amount of natural resources we're going to be using, machines are very important. And if I might not get your questions right, but I don't know, I'm going to put that part very well. So let me just pass on that question, please. Let me pass on it for now.
You know what? That's totally fine. Ajit, is there something that you can add? Because you talked about supply chain management, technology, innovation, and how it needs to also be driven by the government. So is there something else that you feel like technology and innovation could be driving?
Yeah, I think very much true. So technology and innovation definitely drive towards making circular economy a kind of big and robust ecosystem itself. So because AI and ML actually plays a bigger important and a vital role for the circularity kind of aspect. And second thing is like innovation, because if you don't right now, it is the need of our innovation is the need of our. If you don't at all innovate some kind of different things, then obviously you are totally outdated, totally limited. So those kind of things are also being considered for the timing, because so many entrepreneurs, so many people have come forward to actually initiate something, to start off something. But how much persistent enough, how much you are consistent enough to actually pursue your entrepreneurship journey, or the way you do the circular economy from the government point of view, or from the if I talk about from a generic point of view, like we as an individual need to also be aware of what things are going on from the primary level itself, like from the academia point of view. Primary schools, high schools, college, university, they have to be aware of what kind of things are going on right now across the world, across the things like related to circular economy, what related to sustainability, related to other things, what government is doing in India or other countries as well. So it has to be evolved in such a way so that people of India need to be aware of everything related to the technology or climate change, because that is affecting very much to our environment. So we need to be very cautious and be aware of things in an innovative way. People should actually do something, because we are also doing the same thing, so as to make it a kind of prosper kind of aspect that we also deal with. As Komal has already explained, Rowaiye also expressed so many things, but we have to be cautious enough so as to make things to a bigger platform.
Thanks for sharing, Ajit. So one question I have is for Komal, and I think you touched upon this a little bit when you talked about Upcycle Corps, about how circular economy transitions can actually bring economic opportunities. So can you shed some more light on it, on the unexpected positive outcomes or benefits that Upcycle Corps has generated, but also if you were to think more broadly about how thinking about sustainability can create, unexpected positive opportunities?
Aditi, I have to say you're asking some very, very relevant and very pertinent questions, because these are questions that people often wonder when they hear about circular economy, and how exactly is it practicable in the real world, like what kind of social opportunities or what kind of economic opportunities it creates. So circular model of economy is known to have lasting social, economic, and environmental benefits. Now, these can be extrapolated in different ways in different countries, but I'm going to talk about in India, right? In India alone. So, okay, let's talk about, like, we started off as a textile upcycling brand, and through that brand, in a span of 5 years, we upcycled over 50,000 meters of fabric, created 10,000 plus garment pieces, and also provided economic opportunities to over 150 plus uh, underrepresented and disenfranchised artisans in the country. So, but this is something we did on a very small level. I was 18 years old, and like between 18 to like until I was 20, 22, 23, I did this, but this was more of a passion project. Now, fast forward to 23, when Upcycle Corps is a full-fledged marketplace. It's a fast-growing, sustainable marketplace in the country. But you'd be surprised to know the kind of stats and the kind of impact we are already having and we're about to have. So, Upcycle Corps already has over 400 sellers on the platform, and these sellers are basically producers of sustainable products. It could be anything like a bamboo toothbrush, a bamboo towel, or sustainable tech accessories, cutlery, all of that. And we have over 10,000 products. But the biggest, I think, one of the greatest strengths, and the fact that we take pride in is that a lot of our enterprises are actually women owned. And women, about almost 75 to 90% of our enterprises, that figure keeps changing as more and more enterprises on board on our platform, but are women owned and are actually employing about anywhere between 10 to 100 people. So this is that is the kind of impact we're already having. But going forward, India has about 60 million MSMEs that are in the business of creating sustainable products, and we are increasingly getting them on board, which will create economic opportunity, not in terms of not just for the owners of these sustainable brands, but also for the people they hire. So overall, we expect to generate an employment of almost anywhere between 5 to 10 million over the next 5 to 10 years, and which is a big number. So that is the kind of projected economic opportunity of our venture, at least, and for other sustainable ventures too.
If I may say so myself, I think that is absolutely incredible, very impressive, and yeah, I think you're doing a wonderful, wonderful job. I would also love to hear, Ajit, your point of view on this, because I saw you like nodding along to Komal's point. I would love to hear a little bit more about how Saathi is also. What were the unexpected positive outcomes of your project?
Then basically as I've already told, that it's an initiative on sustainable products. So we are not a kind of marketplace. Obviously, we are an e-commerce based venture. So we are also manufacturing so many products, sustainable products. At the same point of time, because through this initiative, we engage the local artisans, to make their lifestyle better, right? So for the timing, we have around 100 local artisans in our initiative, but we want to reach out to all the states and union territories of India so as to engage the local artisans and make their lifestyle better. So we have a figure of like we want to reach out to 10,000 local artisans, 10,000 women-based local artisans in India by 2025. So that is our in the next 2 to 3 years. That is our projection we have, and because it may be directly or indirectly, but directly we may be projecting around like minimum 5,000, and indirectly 5,000 because they will be involved through this initiative. And the thing is like this is the local artisans I'm talking about in our initiative. Also, what will happen, because they are in a kind of socio-economic kind of aspect, they need to also live their lifestyle in a better way, and we are going to recognize them. We are going to make them recognized through different initiatives, because the government of India has already started so many things like a life movement, lifestyle for environment. So in this way also people of India actually want to lead a sustainable lifestyle by utilizing or by using all the sustainable products. So in that way, and we want to also see ourselves down the line of 5 years as a kind of bigger platform to generate obviously revenue along with employing the people, and to make a kind of platform wherein there will be no pollution from our side. Everything needs to be very, very, very actually sustainable way. So from us, there will be net zero by 20. Obviously, from now onwards, it is net zero. But thing is, if any kind of packaging or any kind of aspects, but we want totally things in a sustainable way in the coming time. And we want to be creating so many exclusive stores as Saathi, so that our all variety of sustainable products can be actually available over there. And like we want to IKEA of India, right? So many things will be available, and people can go there, have some experience, and buy those products related to sustainable way. And that is the objective we have for the timing, and we are totally committed towards that, to make India a better place for work along with the sustainable to make a sustainable future as well.
Thanks for sharing, Ajit. So 10,000 women artisans in the next 2 years, that is an incredible goal to work towards. I feel like I could hear the three of you talk for hours, but I have my eye on the clock as well. We have about 5 or 6 minutes left. I have just this one last question. I'm going to open it to the panel, and then I'm going to take just closing comments. So if like Mike, I would love to hear from the three of you to like essentially summarize your thoughts on the conversation we had today. What do you think were the key takeaways? I would love to also essentially understand from your point of view why education and awareness and engaging with different communities and consumers to foster a deep understanding of circular economy is important, and how would you like to continue working on that? So I know that's essentially a very loaded question.
I think that's a very pertinent question. I must say that, and that's really a good question. So let me explain that, because from the grassroots level, from the ground level, it has to be in that way. So let's say suppose from the academia level, the youth should be educated in that way, so as to make them understand that these are the things we need to be aware of. And the second thing is like what we can be like we can be engaged in different local communities and global communities as well, so that from the local to global we can initiate something, we can speak of something, so that to make some to approach something, that these are the different steps, these are the few what initiatives we can make in different ways, so people can understand easily, and government can also like be inclined towards these kind of things, because that is important, because we cannot do alone, because the people, whoever it may be, like the people along with the government need to go parallelly, so that it can be done very well in a long-term perspective.
Awesome. Thank you, Ajit. I'm going to popcorn this over to you, Rowaiye. Just request you to keep it like a minute or two.
Sure. Yeah, the question again.
So it is essentially why
do
you feel education and awareness around this is super important, around circular economy is super important, and taking away from today's conversations, what do you believe? How would you continue to engage with both communities and consumers?
Okay. So I'm going to say circular economy is that what I've actually gained today is that the only way forward is circular economy, be it in a different sector, be it in the fashion industry, or be it in the agricultural sector, all that. And just like what we've been doing in organization is to keep talking to people basically from the grassroots. And one thing I always want to tell people is this: the government needs to come in to support grassroots people like us, because funds, trust me, I don't know about most recyclers that I've met, that I've talked to in different part of the world. What they tell me is that, Larry, we're not getting the right funds. So if we don't have the right thing, how do you want to make it work? So we can keep talking about it from now to tomorrow, but if the resources are not there, then there's nothing to be done. So I'm going to say the way forward. What I've actually gotten today is that circular economy is the way forward.
Awesome, thank you. And
the climate is in
to
danger
the wonderful
already.
Komal, any concluding thoughts, comments? Sorry, you're mute.
Oops, I just realized. No, I think it was well summarized by Ajit and Rowaiye and by you, honestly, Aditi. It's been a great conversation. I definitely feel education and awareness are very important. So as sustainable brands or as sustainable e-commerce market players or whatever, it's an imperative for us also to educate our consumers on so there needs to be clear transparency in terms of the whole shopping experience, that okay, this is how much you're contributing, or this is how much carbon emissions you're averting, or this is this is the amount of plastic that you're saving from going to landfills and stuff like that. So there needs to be a clear and also at education at the there needs to be policy around educating even at the grassroots level, like right from when you're in kindergarten. Environmental education has always been treated as a secondary subject, but now I think it needs to be included in in the mainstream curriculum and in a more practicable way. So that's about it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great point, and so many great points today. Thank you so much, Komal. Thanks, Ajit. Thanks, Rowaiye. So, hey everyone, I think that was quite an evening, and it was honestly a pleasure serving you all as a moderator for this discussion. I hope you found that session to be as insightful as I found it, and I hope everyone is leaving the chat feeling enlightened about circular economy and different approaches towards it. So, thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to connect with me or the panelists on LinkedIn or any other social media. Thank you once again,